Adam Wharton is English, he's homegrown, and he's a continental style of player that doesn't come along very often. So why is it that Crystal Palace are able or willing to let him go from their team this summer? Well, first of all, every player has their sell-by date at every version of the club, right? Adam Wharton is definitely reaching that. He's had some brilliant performances recently, not least in the FA Cup, which, everyone's seen those highlights and everyone watched that game. It was a fantastic game. And it was a game with pressure, a game where someone needed to step up, a game with real difficulty in front of him. And he performed really, really well. Not that big Premier League teams wouldn't have known this before. Last summer, there was big talk about Wharton for over 100 million. The summer before that, we'd not really seen him at that point, but we knew that there was something good in a young player like Wharton. But he just hadn't really had the opportunity to show that in the Premier League yet. And frankly, he hasn't actually had a full Premier League season yet in order to show that, which is probably why a lot of people are waiting for his price to drop and looking to see where those chips lay. He is, frankly, a perfect addition to Liverpool's midfield. And a lot of people that I've been speaking to think that he fits the plan that most people are reading for Arne Slot within the next 3 to 5 seasons. What kind of beast are we looking to build at Liverpool? An adaptable, I would certainly say tactically dominant and controlling side, but one that's able to play in multiple different orientations. You can think of Pep Guardiola, you can think of Jurgen Klopp, you can think of Jose Mourinho. Every side has obviously got more defensive, more offensive, and more controlling passing. But what Liverpool want to do is have a set of players who are so versatile in midfield, which is, by the way, what Slot loves about a midfielder: strong, good reading of the game, versatile, and tactically adaptable. And to be able to bring that into different games and confuse oppositions. You don't know what this shape-shifting Liverpool side are going to do. People have called Slot the Paisley to Klopp's Shankly. Well, if that is the case, then this is very Paisley-esque. Liverpool are looking for midfielders who can change the game through bringing in all these brilliant weapons that they have, and Wharton is that. At the top of his profile, it goes 2 things. Brilliant reading of the game, so he's always facing the match, lets the ball roll across him, and suddenly he's off into space. Or he takes a touch back the other way, and there's a pass away. He's a very 1-2 touch pass kind of guy, can pass with both feet, always loves to be able to face the game. A lot of time when he's being pressured, he's press resistant. And I get it, like there's a real thing with, especially if you're playing with Palace, where it's like, okay, we're not maybe going to have the same control of the match that, say, a Liverpool or a Manchester United or a Chelsea or whoever it is would look to have. Can't believe I just listed those teams as teams that control, apart from Liverpool. But you get my point. Like, if you're playing for Palace, the likelihood is you're going to have someone who's on you because you're the most talented player for Palace. Whereas if you're playing for, say, a Liverpool, you're probably more likely to have a little bit more space because you can spread the opposition out and control the game, Arne Slot style. So bear all of that in mind. Not only that, but if Liverpool are that controlling team and they want to shut down opposition counterattacks, whatever it is, clearly from the eye test, there is a great ability to read where the pass is going to go next from Adam Wharton. And he just nips in and you're away. Again, with that 1-2 touch passing. Takes the ball back, and with the next sweep of his foot, he's got whoever it is away. If we're serious about Wirtz, but really I think we're serious about a number 10 in this team, and possibly even a false 9 type, which could be Wirtz, but I don't think that would be the case to start him that way every game. We will end up with a defensive midfielder like Adam Wharton, who can play probably 6 or 8, but will probably be more like a 6 in this side, who's able to carry the ball, distribute it very quickly, and bring in someone like Wirtz as fast as possible. We're not looking to get it out of the midfield as fast as we can, like a Klopp side, but we are looking to win it back and suddenly have that control, put people on the back foot, and have some of these artificial transitions that we've been creating over the last season. We're not going to completely throw out the playbook that Liverpool have, but we've seen the adaptation and the adaptability that Slot has introduced over the last few games since we've won the title, and arguably 2 or 3 games before that, where the fullbacks were beginning to do different things. With different fullbacks, like maybe a Kirkez on one side, I know it's an assumption, but a lot of people are saying it's a pretty much a done deal. And then with like a Frimpong on the other side, we need someone in the middle who's great at distribution, who can bring those pieces in, who can treat essentially these 2 auxiliary wingers, or number 10, depending on Kirkez or Frimpong, as tools that he can exploit. Straight away, bang, there's a pass and it's into their feet, and those guys are pushing on, overlapping their winger, underlapping their winger, having that level of combination play. That's fantastic, right? But on top of that, We need someone who's able to be adaptable, add those levels of control, add something to the midfield that we don't already have. You would argue McAllister's great at controlling a game, and he has good passing, but I want to see that 1-2 touch passing from Wharton. The same with Gravenberch on the other side. Like, he's brilliant letting the ball run across his body, let it flow through midfield. What would Wharton bring to this midfield? I don't necessarily think that we're looking for huge upgrades on any of these players, though I think Wharton is a generational talent, and again, homegrown. But I think what we are looking for is a player who can come in and, dare I say it, have a touch of the Gerrards in midfield. You need someone who is able to impose themselves on the game, and Adam Wharton is certainly an imposing player. The most recent reference, of course, is that time at Wembley. So, what is it that Slot's trying to achieve? The adaptability to shift away from this kind of hybrid of the Klopp and Slot football that we've had this season, where it seemed like maybe the techniques have changed, but some of the style remained very similar to what Klopp was trying to do, a lot of transitioning. I think we're going to go more towards a control side, and I don't think we'll be shocked by what happens, but certainly if we sign Frimpong and Kerkez, we're going to see very different styles of control. This season that's just gone, Liverpool haven't really had that level of control. Not because McAllister and Gravenberch and Szoboszlai haven't been a great midfield. I think we've seen the difference when you haven't had those guys in the midfield. The team has definitely been weaker. But with two fullbacks who are fit, hopefully, and also bombing on and able to slip into the midfield from either side. I think Frimpong's more of a wired player coming inside as he gets down the field, whereas Kerkez feels more inside to outside, back to inside. But those guys are going to offer that level of control. They become a different passing option. Again, not any judgment on Andy Robertson, not any judgment on Trent. Those guys are very different styles, and I think it's a great shift away from having Robertson and Trent, two, legendary players for Liverpool, and shifting towards this different style. It's, again, slightly more like the continental style that we see, and I think that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if we want to compete on multiple fronts, but it's much, much more adaptable. And that's what Adam Wharton's going to bring to this side. We've seen him with Palace this season, obviously not for, he's had his injury troubles, he's not been in the side throughout, but I think he's a really good player in the sense that I think he's above average. I think he's certainly got a more rounded game than a lot of young English midfielders. Some people are better at attacking, some people are better at the defensive side. I think he's really a midfield all-rounder. And with a team like Liverpool that want to control, are going to come up against low blocks and those kind of things, Wharton's a perfect kind of player in there who's great at finding those really brilliant creative players. Eze's always waiting for the ball coming into his feet. You see Wharton bringing Mateta in and kind of pointing to other players, get across this way, that's where the ball's going to go. We need someone who's a bit of a midfield general, to be honest. I think Gravenberch is very, very good, but he's not that style of leader in midfield. I think McAllister is becoming a leader, but I don't know if he's that kind of guy. And I think Szoboszlai is so busy doing all this work, you can't necessarily have someone coordinating like that. He's the end product rather than the mid product. And the guy who, essentially he does pull strings, but I think we're looking for a Wharton type who will probably unlock a Szoboszlai, who will probably unlock a Wirtz. And I've said this for a while now. I've really enjoyed the section of the season where Liverpool essentially dropped all their strikers. We didn't have Jota. Nunez wasn't really our number one option. And we ended up with like a Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, Luis Diaz, Salah style combo around the outsides. Brilliant, right? That's exactly what I'm looking for. If you bring in Wirtz, if you have Szoboszlai right behind him, you've got two different kind of intense players. You've got two guys who can play off each other. You've got a Wirtz who's very good at bringing other people on, but also really the reason he's so good at bringing other people into the game is because he requires so much attention. Liverpool are looking, all the players we've listed are all gravity players. And what I mean by gravity is Frimpong sucked people towards him as a player. You need to get in close to him, make a tackle, put him under pressure. He's really good at riding those tackles. Kerkez similarly used to be that number 10 when he was younger, drops back into left back, and suddenly he's got real gravity. You need to press him. You need to get out towards him. That creates space in the midfield for Slot's system. Wharton, obviously a spine of a player. He's one of the people who build a team around. But again, great gravity. People have to go towards him, have to pressure him. And again, it's going to create a lot of space. And then finally, Wirtz. Probably the best player in the Bundesliga last season, of the last few seasons, right? In terms of his position. Why Bayern have bid 100 million for him is very, very clear. Why Man City? I guess Man City is sort of cooling a little bit on some of their stuff. I don't know why. I think they might have drawn back. But I'm interested to see what you guys think about this overall combination. We're not buying players in isolation. We're buying them in a combo of 4 or 5 players now. And it is a core rebuild. It's not about getting rid of the big players in Virgil van Dijk or Salah or any of those guys. It's actually about enhancing what Slot wants and bringing those brilliant world-class players to the fore for us. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I will do a more in-depth tactical analysis if we think Wharton is going to get a little bit closer. Leave your comments below what you think Wharton's going to bring, who you think he would come into the team for. Is it McAllister? Is it Gravenberch? For me, he presents as more of a Gravenberch than a McAllister. But I'd love to see like a Szoboszlai and Wharton side by side. I think that would be great. And then, you know, number 10 just ahead of that. Yeah, let me know what you're thinking combo-wise, and I'll chat to you guys in a while. Much love.